Thanks for downloading another segment from the Best of the Classic Metal Show. The Classic Metal Show is heard live on Saturdays from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern, exclusively at www.theclassicmetalshow.com. And now here's another piece of Classic Metal Show history on the Best of the Classic Metal Show.
The Classic Metal Show.
Get your Classic Metal Show right here on theclassicmetalshow.com. The name of the tune is From the Bottom to the Top, and that is brand new stuff from Lauren Harris. And on the phone right now, we have Lauren Harris. So, Lauren, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Couldn't be better. Well,
good.
Well, Lauren, you have a brand new album out called Calm Before the Storm, and it's a different kind of record than I think most people would expect given your lineage. So maybe a good place to start would be to maybe get a musical background on yourself and, why exactly you are a musician.
Well, I mean, I've grown up around, obviously, music all my life, and I started singing when I was about maybe 9 years old in school. And I kind of carried on having like singing lessons throughout school and stuff. And then I used to sing in pubs afterwards, after I left school. And I actually got spotted in one of the pubs by Russ Ballard. And I didn't realise who he was at the time. He asked me if I'd be interested in doing a demo for him. And of course I said, yes, and jumped at the chance. So I did the demo and everything. And I went home and told my dad about it, and he was just like, oh, what was his name? And I said, Russ Ballard. And he was like, what? He was like, do you know who he is and what he's done? And, he's this musician who's, really well known in the business and stuff, and he's written songs for people and this kind of thing. And then that kind of pushed me to make a demo and do my own stuff. And I mean, the stuff I kind of grew up listening to was always classic rock and like old school kind of vibe. The stuff that my dad played around the house was like Gone, Golden Earring, Trevor Rabin, Free, stuff like that. So that's kind of the route that I decided to go down.
Sure. Now, obviously, Lauren, your dad, not just any old dad. He's a world-famous musician in his own right, being Iron Maiden's bassist Steve Harris. From watching him, basically throughout your life, what kind of influence did he put on you as a musician? Was that part of the reason you wanted to be a musician? Was watching him play?
I mean, I always loved going to the shows and everything, and I always loved Maiden growing up, even though I'm his daughter and so I'd still listen to the music and stuff like that. And I remember kind of, when I was younger, going on stage for Heaven Can Wait, a song they do where, the audience goes up and they kind of sing on stage and stuff.
Right.
And I just always kind of remember just thinking, wow, this is incredible. But I never, ever thought that I would actually be doing it. But I mean, what I take from him is just that, I mean, his level of professionalism and his focus for, what Maiden do and what they've achieved is just, I mean, incredible. I just think that even bands around today and stuff like that, there's some great bands out there, but I just think, the kind of the way that they've pushed themselves and they're still going, is just amazing.
Sure. Now, Lauren, when people first hear your album, Calm Before the Storm, I'm sure, because of your tie, with your father, that they are immediately expecting one thing and they're immediately getting something different. Have you found that a lot, that people are surprised at what you do and, are not really I guess what I'm trying to say is the first time, I know for me personally, the first time I heard the record, I totally didn't get it because I was expecting, Run to the Hills too. So,
Right.
Have you found that a lot?
Yeah, I have had that and stuff. I mean, kind of people are saying, I mean, some people have said to me, you should be doing metal, you're not metal enough kind of thing, just because of who my dad is, which I totally disagree with. But on the other hand, I get people saying, oh, well done, you're really going your own way and you're doing your own thing. So it's kind of like, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, really. But I mean, the stuff that I kind of grew up listening to and the stuff that I listened to was that kind of classic rock style, sorry. So that's the kind of route that I actually wanted to go down. and I'm doing what I'm doing, and I love it. And I kind of didn't want to do the same thing as Maiden anyway. I mean, I love metal and stuff like that, but, you know, my kind of heart lies with the old school style.
Sure. Now, listening to Calm Before the Storm and looking at the players in your band, it's not like you've put together, you know, 3 guys that you met in the clubs. You've got some really accomplished musicians. How did you get this band together?
I mean, I met Tommy McWilliams through a friend of my dad's, actually. He produced the album as well, and he obviously co-wrote the stuff as well. So I met him through a friend of my dad's, and we started the project kind of together straight away. And I went over to Miami with him, actually, because I'd never kind of sang with a band or performed or recorded. I've never done anything, basically, up until 3 years ago. So I needed, obviously, you know, a guitarist, and my dad has known Richie for years anyway, because he used to play in a band called Dirty Deeds, who toured with Maiden about 10 years ago, and another band called Voodoo 6, who he used to play with as well. So he's known him for years. And then Randy came in about a year later than everyone else. We actually had a different bass player playing on the album. And that was through another connection through Tommy. So now we have Randy, and we met him through management. So we've been together for about 2 years now.
Sure. Now, and how has the band grown? Do you see a lot of growth, you know, either on stage or when you're, you know, doing writing or whatnot within the band?
Oh, definitely. I mean, we've spent so much time touring over the last kind of 18 months, 2 years. We've really, really got tight, you know, as a band. And although it's you know, Lauren Harris kind of solo artist, I feel like it's Lauren Harris and, you know, with the band behind me, because I've had the same guys with me, and we're like family. We get on so well. And, you know, and they're going to be involved more with the writing on the second album as well and stuff. So I've had that kind of... it's kind of grown into a band, or a kind of a band feel, because we've been touring so much together.
Sure. Now, Lauren, you toured. You just finished up a tour not too long ago with Iron Maiden, a run of the States. Was that your first run through the United States?
Yeah, it was actually. It was my first proper run. I did a couple of kind of one-off shows before in New York and LA, but I'd never kind of been all over, so that was pretty exciting for me. Sure.
Now, what was it like when you first hit the stage? I'm just talking first song every night, when, you know, 90% of the people don't know what you do, and you get up there and you start doing what you do, and you just get that confused look until people start getting the groove of the set. Was that frustrating, or was that okay, or how was that?
No, I mean, it's pretty cool. You know, I always expect that anyway, because, I mean, you know, the album just kind of came out, so not everyone knows the songs and everything. And we just go out there and we kind of, you know, we always have that fight in us to kind of go and try and win people over. And but basically we have a good time on stage, you know. We get on really, really well. We always have fun when we play. And I think it just comes across to the audience. And whether they're kind of into it or not, you know, whether it's their cup of tea or not, they can't, you know, we always have a good time, and we always, you know, pretty much play the kind of same every night, because we've been doing it for so long together now. So, yeah, I think that just comes across and it rubs off, you know.
Sure, and as the set goes along, I'm sure then people start getting more into it, you know, because the songs get a little faster and you put a little more of the hard edge stuff toward the end of the set. So is that how it's basically been?
Yeah, definitely. You know, we've kind of, you know, obviously placed the songs at a pacing-wise where it kind of starts off, you know, you hit them with the first song, and then, you know, you kind of get into it, and then it builds up towards, you know, the finishing numbers, and you get everyone up and stuff like that. So I think there's a really good dynamic to the kind of set that we've been doing. You know, right now, the one that we played in America, it worked really, really well, and went really well with fans, so that was good.
Very cool. Well, Lauren, obviously throughout your entire life, you know, your father has been an international superstar, you know, one of probably the 5 biggest metal bands in the history of music. You know, when you look at that, and now you're doing what you're doing is, you know, basically starting on the ground floor at a level that you never even, you know, probably experienced even from watching your father, does that make it almost scary to be in a position that you've never really experienced before?
Oh, totally. I mean, it's definitely scary going on in front of a Maiden crowd because, Maiden fans are like the most loyal, one of the most loyal, groups of audiences in the world. They follow them everywhere and they're fanatical about them. But, I try not to get kind of too pressed out about it because otherwise, I won't be able to focus on what I'm doing. And I just try and go out there and do what I do, and obviously, and have a good time and stuff. I mean, there's no way I can even compete or compare with what Maiden have done or, their success. So, I don't even try and think about it, really.
Sure. Now, Lauren, obviously it's no secret you get no matter what kind of music you make. If you were in a polka band and you get the offer to go out on a sold-out tour with Iron Maiden, you take it. But I'm curious for someone like you who's not really doing that kind of music. Do you look in the future to maybe go out with artists that are a little more, like-minded musically? Like, I don't know, I'll throw Alanis Morissette as a name, but obviously there's a myriad of bands that more fit that bill.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, we've definitely, kind of got plans in the future to go out with more kind of mainstream bands because I think, our music can really cross over. But we wanted to, actually it was my dad's choice, to put us on with Maiden. I was kind of freaking out about it at first. And he was just like, well, no, Lauren, Maiden fans love melody. And he was like, and that's what you have. And he said a lot of the fans as well, grew up on classic rock and that's kind of in their roots. So I think you'll go over really well. And we have, we've gone over really, really well with their audience. So, I guess it kind of proves him right in some respects. But it's great for me to be able to kind of to say, I can play in front of a Maiden audience. But then, when we go and do other stuff, eventually, we will go out with more kind of mainstream bands that, we'll be able to cross over to that side of to music as well.
Sure. Now, from listening to Calm Before the Storm, the one thing that jumps out at you when you listen to, quite a few of the songs is you've definitely had some bad relationships in your world. I mean, songs like Your Turn or Let Us Be are pretty punch in the gut type of I've been screwed over type songs. Are these written from, reality, or are they just kind of ideas, or what?
Yeah, no, they are. I have been through kind of, I've been really angry and wanting to kind of get all of that out, and they do relate to like relationships and stuff like that. They're kind of, a lot of the songs on the album are about that. So yes, definitely.
Have you had anybody come up to you and say, "Hey, why'd you write that song about me"?
No, I'm sure they know who it is though, like themselves obviously, but no, I haven't.
Not yet anyway.
No.
Nice. Well, Lauren, I had the chance to catch you here in Cleveland. It was a fun show, but I'm curious, why no shoes or socks on stage?
Oh, I don't know. I've always done that from the very beginning. I mean, when I first recorded in the studio, I kind of, I'd never done it before and I was feeling a bit uneasy and I just wanted to take my shoes off. I don't know why. And then when I played the first gig that we ever did, I just felt more comfortable. I was like, I'm going to take off my shoes. I want to get comfortable. And everyone kind of said to me at first, oh, you think that's a good idea? That looks a bit naff. And I was like, well, I don't care. I want to do it. And then it became something that was kind of like cool. And everyone was like, oh, wow, you don't wear shoes. But it's purely for comfort reasons.
Nice. Well, Lauren, you've probably toured more in 3 years all over the world than 99% of the bands could ever dream of doing. How have you seen your performance as well as the band, not just yourself, but Lauren Harris as an entity grow, from the time you started playing shows until now?
Oh my God, I think I've improved so much. I mean, we really kind of got thrown in at the deep end with touring. I mean, especially with me with performing, because up until 3 years ago, I'd never sang with a band before. And I mean, the first ever big show that I did was supporting Alice Cooper And like people that saw me then and saw me now, because I just think there's a massive, massive difference. My confidence has just completely gone up. You know, I just kind of have more of an idea of who I am and my kind of style in myself, because I had to really find myself and, you know, I had to basically grow a style, if you like, because I didn't know how to move on stage before. I didn't know how to talk between songs, that kind of thing. Stuff that people don't even, you know, think about. But, you know, the more you do it, it all kind of adds and it just gets better. And I think I'm at a stage now where I'm really kind of comfortable on stage.
Sure. How long do you think you'll have to be Steve Harris's daughter instead of just Lauren Harris?
I mean, hopefully, you know, this first album, I'm kind of doing that already and I'm breaking away from that. I mean, I know people are always going to connect that with me, I mean, especially in the metal world. But, you know, I'm doing my own thing. I'm doing my own style of music. So hopefully I won't be the daughter of Steve Harris. I'll actually be Lauren Harris.
Excellent. Well, the new album from Lauren Harris, not Steve Harris's daughter, is called Calm Before the Storm. And Lauren, what am I missing that you want people to know?
I mean, nothing. I mean, I'd love to come back to the States really soon, and we're probably going to, like, headline some small shows and stuff like that, like, next year at some point. So, I mean, I'd love people to come out and check us out.
Excellent. Well, Lauren, before I let you go, I have to ask you what is known as the traditional classic metal show question. We ask everybody, and we've even asked your father this one at one point, so I'll ask you as well. How has Lemmy from Motorhead influenced your career?
Not a whole lot, to be honest.
Okay.
I have to say, I'm not really a big fan. Sorry.
That's okay. Well, Lauren, as a tradition on the show, we always let the artist pick a closing track and maybe tell us a story about it. So what would you like us to close the interview with?
Okay. I mean, one of my favourite bands of all time are Heart, so I'd love to hear, like, Heart, Barracuda.
All right, well, let's check it out. Here is Heart with Barracuda right here on your Classic Metal Show.
Thanks for checking out the Best of the Classic Metal Show. You can tune into the Classic Metal Show live every Saturday night from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern, exclusively at www.theclassicmetalshow.com.